Hola, welcome to the Get Closer podcast. I'm Jackie Crick. Artificial intelligence is quickly becoming more prominent in our lives. Through work, school, and home, AI is everywhere. With this innovation comes a certain amount of confusion, curiosity, and even fear. Will AI replace our creative workforce? Who owns AI content? How can it be used to improve productivity rather than replace productive workers? Today, I want to introduce you to members of the ECU Creative team as we explore the benefits of working with artificial intelligence. We will discuss how AI is used as a tool in the creative process, its limitations, and touch on the policy aspects impacting the future of America's marketing landscape. Let's get closer together. I'm joined here by Josh, one of ECU's copywriters, and we're going to be talking about his experience in using ChatGPT and as a tool, right, to your work.
Yeah, sometimes to benefit, other times to the detriment of getting my work done, for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be a copywriter with ECU. I like the work we're doing. A lot of the work we do, there's a lot of variety of tasks that are assigned to me. So sometimes I have a writing assignment and it's more creative. I can have a little more fun with it, creatively. Other times there's more technical writing tasks. And for me, I like that because it means I'm not doing the same thing every day.
So tell me, I just interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
I'm just really curious. I've been waiting to hear you talk about this topic for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to know what does AI mean? And talk briefly about the technical versus the creative approach that you take when it comes to writing with AI tools.
Sure. So, AI is artificial intelligence. And a lot of people are thinking of artificial intelligence as this, this kind of robot. Like I like to talk about the Jetsons, right? They had Rosie the robot and the Jetsons, and George Jetson would tell Rosie to do everything because Rosie was basically just a maid. And so people are envisioning AI as this kind of Rosie the robot who's going to go and do what you need her to do. You just tell her what to do. And that's how they've kind of been marketed through AI, like, Alexa and these sorts of products. But when you're using AI like ChatGPT, for example, to do a writing task, you realize that, there are some things it does pretty well, but there are a lot of things that it is just missing the mark on. So for example, like in the creative, if I'm doing something, really creative, I'm not going to really use it at all. If I'm doing something technical, honestly, I don't really use AI very much because when I did try to use it, I found that it wasn't giving me what I wanted. And one aspect to that is they call it AI engineering.
Okay.
And
Tell us about that.
That's just giving the AI a role. It essentially is what it is engineering your outcome from this AI tool, because that's what it is. It's a tool.
And we have worked on a project for this podcast today, right? So you're going to walk us through and how the process was, and then we're going to kind of role play a little bit about this project. I'll let you tell us all about that.
Yeah, sure. So I used the AI to develop a little ad. But before I get into that, I just want to briefly talk, like, when you have a program, a tool like ChatGPT, it's not Rosie the robot. It doesn't have a personality. It doesn't know who it is. It doesn't have an identity. So if you give it a task to do, if you, for example, if you want to give it a how-to task, a kind of technical writing exercise, and you say, write how a toilet flushes, right? It could tell you anything. It could write that very technically. It could write that so it makes no sense. It could write that out of order. Even it could do anything it wants because it doesn't know who it is. But if you tell that AI tool, you engineer it now, you give it a role. You say you are a plumber, write how to flush a toilet, and then you can go a step further. And when I get a task, I'm always the first thing I do is I find the voice. I find the voice of one of our clients. I find the voice of whomever this is for. And then I find who's the audience. AI doesn't do that on its own. So if you're the plumber, if you want to have a plumber explain how a toilet flushes to another plumber, you have to direct the AI to be a plumber. You have to tell it who its audience is. Because you could have the plumber tell a bunch of fourth graders how a toilet flushes. And those are two different ways of communicating. Those are two different scripts. You're going to use different words. So the first thing I figured out very, very quickly was that a lot of work is going to go in to using the AI tool, because all the considerations I have to make, like as a writer, I still have to make those considerations if I want the AI to write it. I still have to figure out who am I writing this as? Who am I writing this for? And then some further things, which I think we'll discuss here, is what are the main points I want to get across?
Correct. So let's take a look at one scenario. We have a couple of scenarios, right?
Yeah, I put a script together. I gave ChatGPT the task of writing a 30-second radio advertisement for a computer monitor. And I told it, I said, write this advertisement for millennials who work at home and play video games. So that's our target, and our product is the monitor. So I have a little a script here. I think we could go back and forth and read it a little bit.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start. And remember, it's a radio advertisement, so I'm going to be using my radio voice. Hey there, remote warriors. We know you're out there conquering the virtual world from your fortress at home. But what's missing piece to your home office puzzle?
Introducing the Pixel Master Pro UltraView monitor, your new sidekick in the quest for productivity.
Picture this, a 4K panoramic display that'll make your spreadsheets feel like epic quests in your cat videos larger than life.
With a refresh rate so fast, it's like your boss replying to emails at the speed of light. And the colors more vibrant than your last virtual happy hour.
But wait, there's more. This monitor is so sleek, it makes your desk look like a minimalist dream. # office goals achieved.
And for a limited time, order now and get your Pixel Master Pro UltraView monitor at a price that won't make you cry in your avocado toast.
Upgrade your screen, upgrade your life. Pixel Master Pro UltraView, because sometimes size does matter when it comes to pixels.
Order yours today and let the productivity gains begin. Pixel Master Pro UltraView monitor, the only quest worth embarking on in your home office saga. Wow.
Yeah, so that's my submission.
That's
Done.
not very good, is it?
No, maybe not. I mean, there's a lot in this. I don't even know if that was 30 seconds when we read it. I guess we could read it faster. I don't know. But I mean, what did you pick up there?
I think it's very confusing. Mm-hmm. And I even think, it talked about avocado toast. Obviously, that's very relatable too.
Well, millennials, obviously. That's how you sell things to millennials, is you tell them not to cry on their avocado toast.
And it also even said some things that weren't really very proper, did it?
Oh yeah, it had a nice little joke there.
Inside joke?
Sometimes size does matter. When it comes to pixels, okay. Like, meh. Is that
Was it supposed to be funny?
Well, so one of the other instructions I gave it, I did say, be funny. And so for an AI to be funny, there's a lot of puns in here, right? Like the size does matter pun. There's lots of, like, I don't know if crying in your avocado toast is funny. You've ruined a perfectly good avocado toast. And there's the hashtag, which I thought was clever, because I think the AI is saying millennials use hashtags. I don't know. I don't use hashtags.
So it did pick up on some relevant items, but they were in the wrong order. Or in the wrong context, let's just say.
Well, I don't really know what this is prioritizing. And the second thing is I picked monitors because I recently bought a monitor. Okay. So I'd gone through the process of buying a monitor, so I learned things about monitors, right? Like the refresh rate on your monitor is, how much that monitor refreshes. That's like video gamers do like that. So I added the refresh rate here, but the way it says it doesn't make any sense. The 4K panoramic display that'll make your spreadsheets feel like epic quests and your cat videos larger than life. Having a 4K display isn't necessarily going to make your cat videos larger. I guess if it's panoramic, because it's like a bigger screen, but that's not what that does.
It's not real. It won't do that, actually.
Yeah, it won't like make it like it's going to be as large as your screen is.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a good way to advertise it. It's not picking the right. If I were to advertise for a monitor, I would advertise that it's 4K. I would advertise that it has a higher refresh rate. But the way it's doing it here, it's like the AI doesn't understand those terms.
It's avocado toast.
It's the avocado toast approach.
That's right.
To advertising, for sure. Yeah. And so, I mean, what we did after this, well, what I did was I said, all right, what if I which is a direction I get all the time, is Josh, make it shorter. Mm-hmm. Cut it down, make it shorter. So when as a copywriter, I have to take something I've made and make it shorter, I'm prioritizing, what's important. What are the parts in here that I wrote that I can't do without? Because it's got to go from a minute or 30 seconds down to 15. 15 seconds, not a lot of time. So I told it to shorten the ad. And so this is the short.
So we have a new ad.
We have a new ad. It's the same directions, except I said shorten it.
Okay. Let's go with it.
Remote warriors, meet your productivity sidekick, the Pixelmaster Pro Ultra View monitor. Epic 4K display, lightning fast refresh rate, and sleek design. Upgrade your screen, upgrade your life. Order now for a deal that won't make you cry. Pixelmaster Pro Ultra View, because size matters when it comes to Pixel.
I see it left a certain joke in there.
Yeah. And it left like the first half of the avocado. It left that it's a deal that won't make you cry. So I'm a millennial. I'm wondering, does the AI think I cry a lot?
It just seems AI doesn't really know what's important.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
It's just picking up random characteristics and just spewing them out there. It doesn't know exactly how to put it all together the right way.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think if I asked it to shorten it a bunch of times, it would just take random bits of that and just give me a shorter version. It's not really making the conscious decision of what should I keep, what shouldn't I keep, right? Because obviously we wouldn't keep the make you cry line. We wouldn't keep the innuendo there. It's not particularly funny, and it doesn't sell a computer monitor.
So Josh, tell me something. Will this ultimately create more work for you?
Yeah, if I started everything, and if I get a task and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, make me a thing, and like I go over it, all I'm doing is I'm spending my time now reviewing what is ultimately a bad copy and bad ideas. Yeah. And then I would end up writing anyway, because so it's in some cases you may be adding time when you want to be reducing time, because that's one of the things about AI that's why everyone the key everyone wants it, because it's reducing time, right? But I do think there are ways it can reduce time, and I think we'll maybe hit on that next.
Yes, we have another topics to talk about AI that are related to creating ads, copywriting, being creative, creating videos, etc., etc. So I'm moving a little bit ahead of myself, but stay tuned because more is coming. Anyway, talking about this exercise we just walked through, it really was eye-opening in seeing the comparison between all the thinking that a human has to go through to put together an ad versus telling AI GPT, Chat GPT, to, based on three different instructions, to put together an ad.
And it's the same instructions I would be given.
Correct.
I'm not giving it different instructions.
But your approach is different.
But
Absolutely.
And I think about it. I think about it, period.
There you go. So now we're going to cut to our creative director, and he's going to give us some more insight into copywriting versus AI.
Hi, my name is Rob, and I'm the creative director here at ECU. Today we're going to talk about a very hot topic, which is AI versus copywriters. To start, I want to define what a copywriter is. Copywriter is a person, it's a face, it's a voice that a client can hear, can have a conversation with, and relate to. A copywriter can sit on a briefing and try to understand and relate to the problem the client needs to solve. And they collaborate with the rest of the team, like the account people, the research people, art directors, designer, and try to find different alternatives to solve the problem the client has. Can AI do that? No. It simply cannot connect with human beings in the same way a copywriter can. To give you an example, I am still very good friends with some of my clients for many years ago. Then there is the big B word, the brand. One of the biggest tasks of a copywriter is to find a brand's tone of voice, the kind of language it uses to communicate with its consumer. Or if the brand already has a voice, the copy needs to be written in that unique brand voice. It doesn't matter if we're talking about another home poster, a catalog, whatever it is. A really good copywriter has the ability to make everything he does feel like it's coming from one brand. Can AI do this? Not really. It can copy your words and spit them back at you, but that's not the same. AI is derivative, it's not creative. And there are the nuances. Who is the target that we're talking to? Are we using the language? Is that headline appropriate for the channel we're using? The frame of mind of a shopper is not the same at home, at the supermarket, or on the go, on their cell phone. So we need to write differently for each channel. How about emotions, for example? AI does not have a grandma that it remembers fully. Her words, her smells, her laughter. A copywriter can bring this to life and write emotional message like no code or artificial intelligence can. So what did AI do for a writer? It can help. It can help because it is a tool to be used among many others. It can be an assistant that automates repetitive or non-creative tasks. It can provide very helpful data-driven insights. It can be a wonderful spell checker. It can even give us ideas or prompts to explore. But it cannot write brilliant copy by itself. I think that if you use AI to write an ad, you'll end up with a soulless copy that can be full of cliches, will be ordinary, basic, and lacking your brand personality, which is something really important. So at the end of the day, the big question is, can AI replace copywriters? I would say only the really, really bad ones.
Welcome back, Josh.
Hey, I'm back.
So AI, and I have to say thank you, Rob, for your section. It was really informative. It did have a tint of humor, just like you would always put into your segments and your content. So I loved it. But the knowledge and the information you provided was priceless. So Josh, AI is being used in other ways besides just writing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
over the weekend, I saw some videos and some ads, and they looked so real.
Mhm.
But it was news to me to learn that they were all made up through AI with a program called Sora.
Yeah, this is a new, the same, people who do ChatGPT and the OpenAI. This is Sora, so it's designed to make videos. And if you go on Sora's homepage, they have, I don't know, it's like 8 to 12 videos on there. And there's some cool ones. I think you and I saw the same one, like the corgi on the beach. I think it's sipping a drink or something. And it's fun. It's a silly
It's
video.
fun. Yeah.
It looks cool. There's some landscapes. Did you see any of the landscape videos?
I mostly remember this. I love pets.
Yeah.
So 2 dogs flying over the clouds kind of thing. It was kind of cool,
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, for sure. And it's very greeting card fun,
Yeah.
like a digital greeting card maybe, or I don't know, something like that. But then, and you go through them and there's lots of landscapes and some of them look really good. And then you get, at the end of it, the last video is a grandmother blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. And her face is this warped. It's when that action of blowing and then her lips pursing. It's just so weird and off-putting. It's very obviously
It's not
AI
real. You
generated.
can definitely tell it's definitely not a human doing that in that motion, right?
Yeah, nobody was filming their grandma blowing out birthday candles. It was, so there's some obvious, I think, limitations to it, but I think the most important thing for marketing and in terms of creating this content is how is it going to be used for marketing? Because you can probably see that. I mean, you've obviously looked into it. There's definitely some aspects that interest you.
Oh, I think, well, we're just seeing the first steps of AI in our world, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely more to come and more evolution. But right now, what we need to learn is that AI, as it stands right now, is a tool.
Yeah.
A tool that we can use to help us guide a little bit, maybe inform what we're doing, but not create what we're doing.
Well,
there's still more to come, right?
That goes to the point of, using AI to create everything. So previously we talked about using AI to create written content and all the kind of baggage that comes with that. If you're using AI to create an image or a video, there's actually some reasons that you may not want an AI generated ad. And one of those is Google will mark any AI generated content as spam. So if we are going to create an advertising campaign for a client and that client says we want an AI generated or whatever, or if we end up using these tools, imagine going through the process of creating a campaign, creating a newsletter, creating a landing page, creating your social media copies. Even if you have AI do all those things.
It doesn't serve anybody, right?
It doesn't serve anybody.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's spam.
Yeah.
So it immediately goes to spam. So the main thing you're doing in marketing is you're trying to hit, your target audience, right?
You get fired. Your campaign will fail.
Well, you wouldn't get hired again. Yeah, no. for sure. You hand that to your client and then you hand them the numbers.
Right.
And the reach and all that, and it just doesn't add up. So yeah, Google marks everything as spam. But then, there's the other idea of mascots, of using AI to create mascots. Correct. And I know you have a couple favorite mascots.
I do.
From the advertising.
You want to hear what they are?
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to start with the most important one. The one that I really love is the most interesting man in the world.
Oh, yes.
I mean, who doesn't remember that commercial? And then, of course, we have Flo lady from
the insurance lady,
Progressive. And the Geico Gecko.
The Geico Gecko, who's curiously an Englishman selling car insurance to Americans.
Yes.
And he's a gecko. I don't know where geckos come from.
But we didn't know that he was English until he started talking.
Yeah.
Because for a long time he didn't talk.
But what a creative, what a good creative decision.
Yeah.
Because that gecko could have sounded like anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But we became familiar with him, right?
Right.
And with his personalities, with his what do you call that, mascots that entered our world, we wouldn't be able to do something like that with AI, would we?
I think even if you created an AI character, given what we know about Google is marking it as spam, there was a second court case. We have recently had the writer's strike in August.
Oh, yes.
If you recall,
Yes,
right, in
I recall
Hollywood.
that.
And during that time, a federal judge ruled that AI-generated content cannot be copyrighted. So you go to the AI and you go, give me 1,000 mascots for whatever. Give them all these parameters and stuff. But you can't copyright it. So, I mean, as a marketing agency, if you want to create a most interesting man in the world character, I mean, one of the main things you want to do is have a copyright on that, right?
Right.
So,
because then everyone else will be creating the most interesting man in the world, right?
yeah. I
that
think
will
people
create
are.
some brand confusion, wouldn't you think?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Could you imagine you send that out and it becomes pretty successful, and then someone just has like a knockoff character, and then they start selling more.
Yeah.
Because, their knockoff character, they produce cheaper, they can maybe advertise
And it
it
looks
cheaper.
just like your most interesting man in the
It looks
world.
exactly the same.
Oh my gosh.
But maybe he's got like a little lapel pin or something to differentiate it, but it doesn't matter. It
Right.
could be exactly the same, actually, because it's not copyrighted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about problems.
Yeah, wouldn't that kind of be a nightmare?
It would be a marketing nightmare, a brand nightmare, a communications nightmare,
Yeah.
a sales nightmare.
Yeah. And then what would you end up doing in that case anyway? You'd have to go back and redo all your work. And then I would bet $1 million, not that I have it, but that whatever you come up with is going to be better than what the AI produced. Because remember, AI is also only producing things based on data it gets from the internet.
Instructions, right? And data.
And data, things that have already been created. So it's probably going to pick the most clicked thing anyway. So it's going to end up looking like something else, right?
So there is really something to be said about hiring people and employing talent and working with talent that can use their critical thinking and critical and industry expertise to create beautiful communications materials and campaigns. Fabulous, fabulous. So let's talk about, we've already talked about brand messaging and message confusion. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I just think if you're going to be using AI tools to create something new, if that's your intention, you're probably not going to get something very new that is usable from an AI.
Yes.
Right? Because it's not asking those questions that we went through before. It's not targeting your audience. It's not understanding the client, which is really, really important. I have to understand the person I'm writing for. If I don't understand them, I'm not going to write something they like.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm just going through my pages here, my notes, because we've talked quite a bit about AI. And before we leave, I want to make sure that we touch on something. And this is not scripted, so I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit, if you don't mind. We've talked about AI trying to perform the world of a human, right? The role of a human. And understanding that AI is a tool. How do we use AI in our world to make it maybe improve what we're doing? Is there a role to that?
I think certainly there is. Like the same way that computer graphics in movies, when they first came on the scene, they were overused. People didn't know how to use them. Now, that's why we had so many bad movies with terrible computer-generated effects and graphics. Partly because it was in its infancy and people didn't know how to use it. But then once people realized the strengths and weaknesses of certain tools, I think then you'll start to generate real use cases, actual real-world use cases that maybe today we can't foresee.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah,
for sure.
So that you make a great point. Got to make better quality work, right?
Yeah.
And moving to that, we're going to move on to Aaron. Aaron is ECU's producer, and he has some great tips behind the lens.
Hello, ECU video producer here, Aaron in England, here to talk to you a little bit about how AI has already had an impact on what I do in my day-to-day life. Specifically, what kind of AI tools are out there for video producers and content creators, and whether or not these features are even actually worth using. While a lot of talk surrounds AI in the realm of its potential, we can already kind of get an idea of where the technology is going. While some see a sci-fi dystopia where machines are going to replace us all, what I see is more or less a progression of technology that already existed that is being implemented in a way that makes things a little bit more efficient, at least as far as video production goes. The biggest thing that has impacted my day-to-day work using AI has been done by Adobe. Adobe's Creative Cloud software has been industry standard for a very long time, especially in the creative aspect, and as such, they've been implementing AI in a lot of their apps that is already available in their Creative Suite. This has made a very significant impact on my day-to-day workload. One of the most notable pieces of software to get AI technology has been Photoshop. Anybody who's ever done graphic design work or photo retouching knows that Photoshop is a very powerful tool, but it can be a little bit clunky and not super user-friendly, especially to beginners. Their AI-powered features like generative fill and remove background tool have actually already made a big difference in tasks that normally would have taken me up to whole work days and just made them a few simple steps. Like most AI solutions, these things aren't perfect, and there are still tedious little things that I have to do to clean up mistakes that the AI might make when I have it do a certain task. But compared to how things used to be, where you would have to painstakingly get on the pixel level and make sure that you're cutting things out perfectly, this is a very welcome change of pace and makes my job a lot easier. Now, I don't necessarily recommend anybody use generative fill as a crutch. You definitely want to make sure that you still have the basic fundamentals down whenever you're working in graphic design or photo retouching. But again, this makes it easier for people to get in and start using these programs. Another feature I've been using a lot has actually been the denoise feature that can be found in Lightroom. What this feature does is that it opens an enhance window that actually allows you to specify how much noise reduction you want done to an image, and it will create a new DNG file applying those changes. So if you think you went a little bit overboard or not quite enough denoise on an image, you can always go back to the original image and apply the effect again with different parameters. I'd really love to see them implement a feature like this into Media Coder or Adobe Premiere, especially as I continue to use more log footage in some of our projects and I need to have some kind of noise reduction done on some of our clips. But the best tool that I've used using AI technology from Adobe so far has been Adobe's podcast service. While this service has actually been advertised mostly toward aspiring podcasters, it's actually made a really big difference in my regular video work. Audio is about 50% of video, and having good, clean, listenable audio makes a huge difference in your content. The voice enhance feature is what's been a huge game changer. At ECU, we obviously use high-end audio equipment and take audio production incredibly seriously. But when we do a remote interview and the guest only has, say, a laptop with the internal webcam and is in a echo chamber-like environment, and we get less than ideal audio, this thing really helps in a pinch, helping improve the audio quality of that segment. Literally cleaning up that audio file is as simple as just uploading it to the Adobe podcast service and they spit you out a new file with clean audio. This also comes in handy for social media content that was shot on a cell phone and again is not in an ideal scenario when you're dealing with ambient noise. Here's an example of a cell phone clip before applying the voice enhance feature.
So we're trying to communicate to the parents, stay in school, these are the areas where they can still make a great living and perhaps later on continue their education.
And now here's an example after applying the voice enhance feature.
So we're trying to communicate to the parents, stay in school, these are the areas where they can still make a great living and perhaps later on continue their education.
Again, it's not perfect. AI processed audio still suffers from a lot of the same problems other AI generated content deals with, where it's very distinctly artificial. But if what you're trying to do is make bad audio listenable, this is an incredible solution. But those are just a few examples of AI technology that we are actually using right now today in our day-to-day workflow in the ECU production department at least. Let us know some of the tools that you guys are using, and for now, let's get back to Jackie in the studio.
Thanks, Aaron. You know, when he explains it, it really does make more sense to me now why people are so interested in AI tools, don't you think?
Yeah, he does a good job.
He really does.
Good job, Aaron.
He really did a fabulous job. He certainly understands what he's talking about. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep talking about, so Tell me about computers. You earlier talked about AI tools being just like computers back in the day, right? And you simulated that. So,
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
So I think AI is like, it's another tool, another technology. What Aaron hit on in his video and kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. My mother, for example, when she was in school, she wrote everything on a typewriter. Okay. And I've used typewriters before and they're really cool, but I don't want to use them every day. Right. And then the typewriter technology evolved. Typewriters themselves got better, but then we started using computers. And back when my mom would use her typewriter, if she made a mistake writing a paper, she would take whiteout. People may remember whiteout.
I'm really familiar with that.
And you would white it out and you would like write what you want over it and then fix it, hopefully not make another mistake, and then send in your final copy if you could do that. So when I was growing up in school, we had computers, but a lot of our teachers would still make us use whiteout. So we would have our papers, we'd print them, we'd hand them in, and then like during class, we would go over and correct them with whiteout. That's such an extra step that's not needed, right? And that's one of those steps that the computer totally, resolved and totally replaced by just being a better tool. But my teachers, when I was a young kid, didn't know how to use computers, and therefore they still made us white out our mistakes. So even though the technology was there, people didn't know how to use it. And because people don't know how to use the tools in front of them, they're going to revert to, older ways of doing things. And then now, 10, 20, 30 years later,
Many years.
I don't even know if you can buy whiteout anymore, right?
Oh, yes, you can. I have one in my drawer.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, so you can.
I certainly would not want to be writing a lot of copy in an old typewriter and using whiteout when you can save time, right? We're talking about AI tools and saving time. Yeah. So the use of AI tools certainly helps you save time as long as you know how to use the AI tools.
Yeah, and what to use them for.
Exactly. And so thinking about ECU team members in general, copywriters, creative directors, video producers, et cetera, it certainly makes sense to guide our team members to understand the use of AI tools, to get involved using AI tools, but most importantly, know when to use the AI tools. What would you say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even using Microsoft Word, we were doing something not long ago where we were formatting a document, right? And there's a way to format a document specifically in Word where you can you mark the headings or whatever, and then you can create a table of contents. If you don't know how to do that, you're just going to type the headings and everything, which is cool and perfectly fine to do. But if you know how to do it properly, then you can it's much quicker to do. And that's just because you've used a tool. You were going to do that anyway. Now you have a tool and it makes it easier for you to use. So AI is just another one of those tools. It's not Rosie the robot from the Jetsons, unfortunately.
I grew up with Rosie, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was kind of like your dream.
It was very cool seeing all the screenshots that I saw in the Rosie and the Jetsons. And so many of those are now here to stay, right? So AI is here to stay.
AI is here to stay.
It continues to evolve, right?
Yeah. And going back to the Rosie thing, do you realize Rosie the robot was wearing like an apron?
Yes.
Why would a robot need an apron, kind of, right?
Isn't
she stainless steel? Can't she? Right? You're just kind of dirtying the apron where she could just kind of like clean it off
symbolic.
herself. Yeah, right.
It was symbolic.
It was a creative decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So to help, everyday tasks become less burdensome on the families, I guess.
Yeah, and it's sticking with Rosie, right?
Yeah.
Rosie was the maid, but she still had a power. She still washed the dishes. Jetsons didn't realize, we have a dishwasher, which is a separate machine from like the laundry machine, which is a separate machine from like my computer typing things or my cell phone. And the Jetsons, Rosie just did all that stuff, and they didn't make that connection. So the AI tools, it's another tool you know, it's like your dishwasher. You have to know how to use it. If you don't know how to use your dishwasher, you're just going to washing dishes by hand anyway.
That's right. So we do know AI is here to stay,
Yeah.
but it's no substitute for human creativity. What would you say about that, Josh?
I like that idea.
Me too. Thank you so much for being on our show, Josh. We really appreciate your knowledge, your millennial insight,
Oh, thank you.
and creating these wonderful ads that we just completely shredded apart because
Well, I didn't
nothing
create
is
them.
better. Well, no.
Yeah.
AI created them.
Yeah, don't. This is.
That's right.
I did not write those AI generated ads. Do not put that on my.
He just told AI to write something because if it had been Josh, it would be 100% better,
Yeah,
right?
I hope so.
No substitute. Thank you.
Thanks.